Today, we're going to do a fairly quick and easy analysis of a single consumer issue, and that is a local rental car worth it? This applies to me personally because I've been renting cars for about 20 years, often renting once a month or more. I think I've suffered probably from boiled frog syndrome. And if you're not familiar with that analogy, the story goes, if you take a frog and you put him into a pot of boiling water, he'll hop right out and save his life. But if you put a frog into a pot of tepid water and slowly turn up the heat, he will stay there until he is cooked. And that's probably what's happened to me with these rental cars. Through the past years, with COVID changes, rental agencies have decreased their hours, increased their prices, provided less dependable fleet cars, cars with high mileage that are often unreliable. I've had batteries go dead on cars, I've had cars with broken air conditioning, several cars with bad tires that vibrated at high speeds. I will leave a link in the description to a video I've done about how to choose a good rental car, in which I talk a little bit more about these problems. Now, first, there are times when a rental is appropriate. Of course, if you fly into a new city from out of town, Salt Lake City or something like that, a rental car is almost necessary. Also, if you rent in town, sometimes you need a specialized vehicle. Maybe you have a 4-passenger car and you're taking 6 people with you, you would rent a minivan. Maybe you're driving to the mountains to go skiing and you have a 2-wheel drive, you might rent a 4-wheel drive. Perhaps you occasionally need a pickup truck while you drive a sedan. Renting something like that would be appropriate. Also, sometimes there's a special occasion. Maybe you want to rent a Mustang GT convertible to drive through Rocky Mountain National Park on your anniversary. All of these are appropriate choices for a rental. Also, a high mileage trip, driving from coast to coast, 3,000, 4,005 miles, rentals are very appropriate. So let's go to the rental agency and choose a car for this analysis. Here's a Camry SE. From the tires, it looks like it has about 20,000 miles. This should be perfect for our analysis. The car we're choosing for this analysis is a 2022 Toyota Camry Model SE. The Camry is a good car for this comparison, and it's a fairly good rental car. It comes equipped with a spare tire, which is something that I insist on. It has lumbar support. The lower model LE does not have lumbar, but the SE does, which I insist on. And it's fairly powerful, around 200 horsepower, 8-speed automatic. It has adequate power on the highway to get out of the way of the semis, which often drift out of their lanes. And I'm going to use that exact same 2022 Camry SE as a comparison for the car that you might own and drive in town. And there's a reason for this. The Toyota offers 2 years or 25,000 miles of free maintenance. So you could probably go 30,000 miles before needing to put vehicle maintenance into this analysis. So what I'm going to do is do a comparison without vehicle maintenance. Now, the cost of a rental car varies. For this comparison, I'm going to use a trip that I'm going to make next week, a trip to Grand Canyon, Arizona, where I'll be hiking on the summer solstice. I will rent a car typically for 4 days to make that trip and drive about 850 miles round trip. The cost of that rental varies between $200 and $400, so I'm going to use $300 as a median figure for this analysis. Now, in considering the full cost of buying, insuring, and maintaining a car for this trip, you could use the IRS figure of 65.5 cents per mile, which would come out to $556.75 total cost for a car on this trip. But you would minus the gas cost because whether it's your car or a rental car, you're paying your own cost. And let's take $150 off that figure. So the IRS says the true cost of owning, insuring, and maintaining a vehicle for this trip would be about $406.75. But what if you already own a car, insure it, and maintain it in town for your own use like I do? Let's assume that that car is the same 2022 Camry, and let's assume that it has 8,000 miles on it. Now, if you make a trip like this once a month for a year, 12 trips, what would happen to the trade-in value of that 2022 Camry? And let's remember, with the Toyota maintenance, there would be no additional maintenance during that time. I use the NADA, National Auto Dealers Association website at this point in time for estimating values, and I use the trade-in value in good condition to a dealer. That 2022 Camry with 8,000 miles, as it sits before these trips are made, would be worth, according to the NADA figures, $29,975. If you made 12 trips of 850 miles, that would be 10,200 more miles, which would be on your car. That Camry with 18,200 miles on it would be worth $28,850. It's surprising, but that difference with 10,200 more miles is just $752.12 less in your trade-in value. And if you divide that by 12, each rental by driving your own car costs you $60.41 in depreciation. If the average car rental is $300, you save almost $240 each time you drive your own car. Plus, there are lots of advantages to driving your own car. Your car has the features that you chose when you bought it. XM radio, a spare tire. It has familiarity. You don't have to figure out how to turn the headlights or how to turn on or off automatic high beams. And it has reliability that the rental car likely does not. You have owned and maintained that car, and you know that you can trust it. The dollars and cents analysis says it is far better, hands down better, to drive your own car than to drive a rental. We don't even need to go to the time-money equation to calculate in the time it takes you to go to the car rental agency, pick it up, drop it off, and the time to prepare your rental, which for me is considerable. I always have to check the tire pressures, which are almost always off. I have to wash the windows. I often have to add wiper fluid, etc., which can consume several hours of my time. But that analysis doesn't even need to be done because it is so clear from the dollars and cents analysis that your own car is better. So if you have a good, reliable car you've already purchased and insured, it is a far better deal to drive your own car as opposed to a rental. I hope you find this analysis helpful to you in making your own decision of whether it's cheaper to rent locally or to drive your own car. Thank you for watching.